Hello Gemini, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I'm here to do your reading. And I have pre-shuffled the cards, trying to do the readings a bit shorter. And I do have a message for you here, Gemini. When I was pre-shuffling, the Ten of Earth fell out, and it also showed up as the overall energy here for you. So this could talk about something tangible, possibly money, or as I heard for you, value. There could have been, or there still may be, an emphasis on value, to creating value, being valuable enough, being attractive enough in someone else's eyes, perhaps here. I've tried to record your readings, and it seems like there is like an electrical glitch coming in that kind of disturbs the recording. So my camera goes in and out of recording, like maybe you are dealing with something where there is this on-off experience with someone, perhaps here, because it's something has been on, then it has been off, or you have been, like not sure about something, whether you wanted to take action on something. Because there's this strange kind of glitch. I've tried, I think, 3 times now. So now we'll see how far in I get before something, if it starts again. But to clarify the 10 here, because usually this card in other tarot decks, it talks about like almost happy ever after. Like the person is there, the family is there, the children are there, the work is good, money is good, pension is good, the right car, the right village, the right tribe, the right town, the right friends, loyalty, all this stuff is present. But she sits here alone. And one of the reasons why she sits here alone is clarified with this card, the rainbow. The rainbow has to do with a spiritual path. It has to do with the 7 steps of a true spiritual path, the 7 chakras. It's the full realizations of our essence. It is represents the bridge between the spiritual realm and the physical realm, or the spirit and physical worlds, and the ability to journey between them, you could say. And because this card, she sits alone, somehow I get the feeling that whom I'm talking to here, maybe they have a different view on what the 10 of Earth looks like. Maybe the happy ever after for this person who I'm reading for is not the marriage. Maybe it's not the children. Maybe it's not like the normal 9-to-5 mundane work life. Maybe this is a spiritual path. Maybe the happy ever after and the value in life, where they feel most valuable and most in service, you could say, is when they join a spiritual path here. And go, go the awakening journey, go and be of service. She kind of sits here almost, I don't know, I would say in prayer, but she could sit at in meditation, or like humbly, I don't know, kind of being in service somehow because of this. Maybe the journey, what she finds out here, is humbling her. I said something about value, establishing value, making yourself more attractive. I don't know. Now I'm just saying something. Making yourself more attractive in God's eyes. valuable for doing his work, you know, something like that. Or spirit, making yourself more attractive to the spiritual world, becoming more open, intuitively decluttering, cleansing yourself so that you are able to have more clear information here. It's almost like it comes in here. We see like there's a bird here that kind of wants to take action, right? We can see the rainbow stripes, but it's almost like it's in motion forward somehow here. So somehow I feel like whoever is sitting here, it could be something like wanting something to pick up speed. I had to take a clarifier for this card to figure out exactly why, because she sits here. And usually to be on the spiritual path, you actually have to sit. You have to become more passive, more yin-like, more receptive, to like hear and listen. Sometimes you need to cleanse and declutter to kind of to go on this path here. And somehow I feel like someone wants to pick up pace here and do like a forward movement. And maybe you haven't been doing that. Like maybe you have been sitting here. So there could be something about literally taking some kind of action to do something. To clarify this card here, I look at the bottom of the deck where I have the jaguar. And he kind of sits here. I think he looks a bit grumpy, right? And it's almost like he is watching an egg here, right? You know, like he's put in a position of like taking care of this one. Taking care of it, waiting for it to hatch, or waiting for something to pick up speed by itself. You know, like waiting for something to take up speed by itself. Or like you had to babysit it somehow, right? You had to kind of be there and babysit it. And now it's kind of, and being a bit grumpy about it, being a bit dark about it. Like it's supposed to take up speed by itself. And maybe you've been sitting here, you know, like hoovering with something, expecting it to take up pace by itself. Hoping, wanting, wishing or something, that something would become your happy ever after, you know, something it would just take up speed by itself without you doing anything. Again, he just kind of sits here, right? And looks at it, right? He looks at it a bit like an egg, waiting for an egg to hatch. But sometimes you have to keep it warm, right? You have to nurture it. You have to do something about it. Otherwise, it probably won't take up that speed, that pace. This talks about, you could say, the spiritual realm. It talks about being the ability to breach, to create a bridge between the physical and the spiritual realm. So, and maybe you kind of thought that it would come in by itself, or if I create if I become attractive enough, if I make myself available enough, if I just sit here, then it will come to me. Like glory, or you could say the happy ever after just comes to me. That I'm not supposed to actually do something about it. Just lean back here and that is the underlying energy. This is, you could say, what has been, this is the way you have dealt with stuff until now. This is how you have been moving forward, right? And you have been sitting, that's why you sit like this. You sit like this, and you have been trying to again, establishing value. Maybe if we talk about business, it could be that you have been studying. Maybe you have been taking a new education. Maybe you have been like really diving into spiritual knowledge in some way. Laws of attraction, the laws of the universe, laws of vibration, other kinds of stuff here to heal some of your chakras here, to open them and go from, you could say, small living to a bigger living, like wanting more abundance in your life, expecting it to come somehow. But underlying energy for this is the 5 of air here, and this card has come up so much. So sitting here, thinking good thoughts perhaps, or again, you've made yourself maybe more valuable, more attractive, or that's what you hope for. If you have a card like this in your subconscious perhaps here, this is a driver. So it's something that from within drives something forward in you. It can be a thought pattern. It can be because it is air energy here, it can be a way of thinking, a programming that you have, something that is kind of driving you forward here. When we look at this card, it's like someone is trying to fly like a dove, but they're not quite a dove, right? And maybe, once it was maybe a bad thing, like maybe you were told that you didn't fit in, like the ugly duckling, right? You didn't fit in, you didn't do well, or so. You can't fly like us, you are too clumsy or fat or something, but it's like, I feel like it's like you want to turn it around, like you have the awareness that you don't fit into the happy ever after, which is the story that the doves would say. The doves have a tale of what the happy ever after is. As I said, money in the bank, the pension scheme, great long-term job, the right career, you have the beautiful wife or husband, you have children, you have the dog, and you have loyal friends, you have tribe, you have society, you have everything supporting you somehow, right? And that is maybe the happy ever after life here. And that's what you have been told, right? That follow that plan, do this, then you will be happy. But somehow you didn't quite fit in there. Maybe once you were shamed for it. Like maybe once it was not a good thing. Like if you wanted to go another path, it was not liked, right? Now you're turning this around, I feel like. It's like you have recognized, I'm not this dove. I don't fly like this. I'm a different air. You are air sign, Gemini. I'm a different air. I am not one who flies like the other doves here. I'm different. So my happy ever after is probably also different. The way that I find my happiness, maybe you find more happiness in solitude, or that you live by yourself, you're not married, or you don't have children, or the happy ever after comes maybe from a spiritual deeper connection perhaps here. You are curious about breaching the realms. Maybe you find much more joy and happiness here. You want to be in some kind of service for the spiritual realm, God, as I said, Jesus, any kind of deity that you feel connected to, perhaps Buddha. It's up to you, right? And it just feels like it comes in, almost, I don't want to say rushing, but it has a pace to it. Like you should pick up pace. You should start doing this. You should like wanting to commit to something else, right? Being a person that lives by other rules, perhaps here. And once it was a bad thing, right? Once it was maybe considered as that you were kind of a rule breaker. And that's why we have a 5 here, that you were shamed or punished or for it, right? The clarifier for this 5 of air here is woman holding a heart. And this has also come up several times here for me, the last round of readings, and still is here. So woman holding a heart she has a heart here, and it's a very big heart. And when I see this card, it's like she's turning her back to something, right? It's like she's kind of like protecting herself, but still looking over the shoulder, like she's looking, but still kind of protecting herself from something. She still has, like an interest. It could be like she is maybe not protecting, but literally like in disgust, like, oh no, that's not for me, right? Like turning her back here, and she's then giving her heart to someone else, or she wants to protect her heart here from being maybe furtherly damaged. This connection here, where we have the 5, whatever has been told, what stories could lie here, could actually have hurt her. Like if this is you, Gemini, right, that you're the one flying here, and you're the one who is not like turning your back to the story of the doves here, perhaps, because you're protecting yourself from something, right? You're protecting yourself from something that has hurt you somehow. And because you're doing that, maybe, once you closed off your heart and you didn't want to be in any kind of relationship, you didn't want to be in any kind of commitment or something, it may have led you into this lifestyle of focusing on money or your own wealth or something, but alone, mostly alone, right? And more committed to something else here. Something quick, perhaps. I don't know. This could also talk about this idea of like a quick fix. You want yourself out of debt easily or quickly. So you want something to like being fixed quickly here. That you want to fix your chakras quickly. Your ability to receive, or whatever may have stood in your way of your happiness here, you're trying to quickly fix it, I feel like. But something cannot be fixed only by the mind. It has to do with your heart. It has to do with like maybe even inherited trauma. I believe that we carry something in our bloodline that we can actually take with us, or we unsolved problems from our ancestors and even parents can be still lingering in us. It cannot all be fixed by the mind. Even you are a very curious and very intelligent air sign. Something needs to go through the heart as well. You have a heart chakra, right? The heart chakra cannot be healed necessarily through your mind alone. It's interesting how the cards kind of lay here. I'm going to show you. So I have the woman here holding a heart. She's kind of protecting herself. How the card came out is actually like this. It's almost like wanting to rush in here towards someone who is kind of, at least that has been what it was in the past, perhaps. This is normally how you have done things, right? That normally you would have turned your back to whatever this is. And it kind of wants to come in here with information. but you have maybe, you know, like protected your heart here from something that wants to come in here and help you heal, right? Or bridge, you know, bridge the spiritual realm. It could be, you know, like you are realizing that your greatest abundance could be, now I'm just saying something now, right? Maybe if you were a channeler, that you are channeling spirit, some kind of spirit knowledge or something. It could be that the service, the way you should earn your money is by becoming a priest. Then you live in a tribe of with other priests and community, but you live alone, you're not married, you know, like it's something about a different lifestyle. A different lifestyle, Gemini, that is much more fulfilling for you. It could be that you want to become a shaman, that is the way for you. It's like an alternative kind of living. That is value. That is, but it is in service somehow. You are in service here. You are in some kind of service for something here. And it's like you have kind of waited for it to breach, like this egg to kind of just open itself like that. But it doesn't do that. It's like, or you have wanting something here to work with you, be available to you. And that's why he's a bit grumpy. I feel like he's a bit, you know, like impatient. Why is nothing happening? Why is nothing going on? It's like it seems like it's not really working out. The way you have done things normally is not working out, and you're wondering if you should do something differently. If maybe your method is not right, or the right method, the way you have lived your life, I feel like, again, trying to fit in here with the doves, you have realized it doesn't work for you. You are not this one. And there is something about like spirituality, spirit work, being in service of God, you know, like as God is my shepherd. I follow where he takes me, you know, allowing for you to be guided somewhere. That you are in service in that way. Does it make sense what I'm saying? There is something about wanting to breach to the spiritual realm somehow, but almost also like expecting it just to come. Like it just comes like that. And I think that yes, it will come, but you can't at the same time, you know, like turn your. It's like she's protecting her heart, so wanting this, but at the same time fearing for her. I almost want to say survival. Fearing for her safety. You know, like wanting to. It could be. Now, I just put it out there. You just take it if it resonates. If you put yourself in service for spirit like a medium, you know, like if you know Bashar, there's a guy who's channeling Bashar. He sits and he is just closing his eyes, becoming you could say he becomes the microphone or the voice of Bashar. And Bashar is like a spirit guide, right? So you act like a medium. It means that you put your vessel at service and you kind of lean yourself back, or your own personal existence, you take that out, and you're now speaking with the voice and the pace and the tone of this channel. Cryon also. Cryon is, if you look them up here on YouTube, there is two men are actually sitting in service like that. Like they put their vessel as they are in service of Cryon and Bashar, and they allow that spirit to speak through them, use their voice to speak through them with a message. This is almost what I feel like. It's like sitting in that. That is your job, right? That would be your job, and the happiest one. But it's almost like you have turned your back against it, you know, like as I showed you before, that's how the cards actually come out on the table, right? It's like this, right? That this wants to come in here with the bird voice communication. It wants to come in here, and from being a little egg down here, it grows, and then it grows even bigger. And that's what I feel like. It's like you've been kind of waiting for something to happen, but at the same time, she sits with her back turned here because she's protecting her heart. What if this is not safe for me? You know, like overcoming a fear, perhaps, of being a medium. Putting yourself, like letting, I want to say God or Spirit decide that you are a tool that they can work through. Right? They can speak through you. And it's interesting how this time around I've chosen a front picture for these readings where you see this chili that is speaking something of fire here, right? And I do actually have a fire card at the bottom here as well for you. But there's something about expression that wants to come through in these readings. So whether it has to do with trauma for someone and new abilities for someone else, we'll see about that. But for you, it seems like there is something here that wants to come in and work with you. And when you heal your chakras, when you declutter and you become of, the more you declutter and heal your chakras, it's like you become more clean and pure. And the reason for this, and maybe you feel like there's this impatience, it's almost like you know it. I even had for the where is it? For this card here, where she is kind of turning her back, like, oh, I'm not quite sure about it. But she's still looking, you know, like it's like she's still looking. Like she's still looking over the shoulder here towards this. Like it's still there. It's like almost like she knows. Like there's something there. This is clarified with contract. It's almost like you have a contract of something. A contract of spiritual work. A contract maybe with someone. Again, a spirit or another person through which if you somehow work with them, you can create this like amazing, that is the one that you need for your chakras to heal here, or for having the sense of, what was it, like a full realization of your essence. Right, so it's like there is a contract here. So a business contract, maybe a spiritual contract, maybe a friendship, maybe even, this can even talk about marriage. But the contract in itself is also a marriage. If you want to work as a medium, I believe it's almost like a marriage. You have to trust, right? You have to, she is not quite trusting this one, right? And probably because whatever this journey is about, it's maybe, you know, shamed or misunderstood. People don't get it. Like they don't understand why you're choosing this. It seems not the right path, right? You're supposed to do so. Joy and happiness is found somewhere else. That's what the doves would say here. The doves would say joy is found somewhere else. What you are doing, or the right work, the ideal work, is something else. It's not supposed to be this, right? And you do have, and because of this bullying or this, like they recognize that you're different. You recognize you're different here, and it has been seen as probably bad. The 5 also talks about dramatic change. It talks about this invitation that you are invited to maybe make changes that are dramatic, right? Dramatic changes in the way you see yourself or you speak. Yeah, speak, right? The way you speak or what comes out of your mouth may come from someone else. It may come from spirit, and that there you need to trust, right? You need to trust. And this kind of indicates for me like I would go as far as saying that the ones you once have been listening to here, they have heard you, right? If these were people in this lifetime. But this could even talk about, I would go as far as saying past lives, perhaps. Maybe you have a subconscious knowledge of being in service like that, being in service like this, has hurt you. Again, I said bloodline. Maybe this is almost like an inherited, ability you have. That this has been going on for generations. Because I want to say, to become a medium, I want to say you probably have to be able to hollow yourself out. Like, meaning that you step so much aside that something else can come in and speak, right? And that idea of hollowing out could be the feeling that you lose you lose yourself, of your sense of essence. Like you lose the sense of who you are. If you perform that contract, like if you put yourself in that kind of service, what about me then, right? What about who I am? What about me, you could say? And that is more of a, in the greater spiritual realm, it would probably be seen as a little egotistical kind of thought. But I don't think so. I think that you are quite right to make sure that you are not in some kind of contract that hollows you out all the time. Sometimes we hollow ourselves out. If you have to deal with a little child, for instance, the child has no way of getting its own need met by itself. As a mother or father, you become the one that hollow yourself out, at least to a certain extent, to take care of the child. It wakes up at night, and even though you would like to sleep all night, you get up and you go and feed the child or nurture it or care for it if it cries. So in that way, we hollow ourselves out for a moment, and then we take care of something, and then we go back and we get our life back, or the the normal needs that we have as well, we then go to sleep again, right? But there's this ability to hollow out for a moment, and then you get back to your job here. There could be this, maybe, like a fear that something wants to come quick in here and just like hollow you out, like at any time have access. The way you kind of tune in and become a medium, I believe it's because you have an open mind and you also have an open heart. It's almost like part of you wants to sit and be in service here, and another part of you is maybe scared of this, right? Not quite sure whether it's safe, I want to say. Again, earth cards here, they're usually tangible. It's something about, is it safe? But the 10 here, for me, it would definitely talk about that the value of whatever this is big. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a 10 here. 10 usually talks about completion. I feel like you're almost there. Like you're almost there in the sense of you have made yourself attractive enough, or you have purified yourself enough. You have established worth here, value. Like you it's like as the conduit, or the, like the vessel. The vessel, of course, if something has to speak through you, the vessel has to be clean. Otherwise, the words that come out are polluted in some way, right? You have to be able to be that clean mouth, you could say. Otherwise, I feel like Spirit wouldn't choose you either. Spirit wouldn't choose you if you are not prepared to be that, like, and you choose it, or you have to choose this. Like, it's a conscious choice to be in that kind of service, that you recognize the contract. This can be something you have agreed to before you incarnated. You may not even remember, right? But you may have been in a life that has taught you to hollow out. And scapegoats do. They hollow out. You may have been in a life that has taught you to hollow out for others. To be like others. To fly and dance like others. In that way you hollow yourself out. So you have training in this. But it may have felt really awful, right? And has maybe felt very painful here. So to become that, you could say, that clean vessel or mouth, or the articulation, the way of the ability to speak what it is that Spirit wants to come through you, or to come through, requires a certain cleansed, that you can't carry your like trauma from and pain here from the hollowing out. Like the hollowing out could have felt like really disturbing for you here, like something took over your heart and possessed it, right? And that may have made you unhappy and uncomfortable, and you can't sit with that and be the voice. That needs to be processed. You can't sit with and have trauma and then become this medium of, if Spirit wants to speak through you, they need a clean voice, a clean throat. They need, maybe you have things going on in your throat chakra at the moment, right? That the ability to speak like with like honesty and real like the real authenticity perhaps is needed to, you could say, hatch this egg. And maybe you have been sitting in like a, well, doubting that, maybe you have felt this, like on a subconscious level, feeling that you should work with someone. You should work with God or Spirit, or someone is important to vitalize or awaken that essence in you. That is here, the contract that you have here. The rainbow, that's the invitation of this card here. The rainbow tells you that the end of the storm is near. Persevere and remember that it is darkest just before the dawn. Do not give up hope. Things are about to take a positive turn. Listen for the morning rooster that announces the coming of the dawn, even while the night is still darkest. But do not claim victory yet, and let your guard down fully. Yeah, the letting your guard down, like the shoulders down. Again, it requires you to trust. It requires us to open and heal the heart, the wounded heart, perhaps, yeah, that has been wounded. Again, I feel like the way she kind of, you know, like the way she kind of turns her back here, it's like something in you may still be, you know, like not quite trusting what this is, right? Also because it kind of, it feels a little bit like it's moving, right? That it's moving or wants to move here. That it wants to come in here, the bird, like it wants to come in and speak through you here. But it's like you kind of turning your back and you're looking to it like, I don't feel safe about this yet, or ready, or it's almost like your body and your heart knows that it's only when I trust and I have let down my guard, I can actually take my shoulders down. I am receptive, I'm open, I trust, I trust to hollow out myself for this. I trust to hollow out myself for this. It may require me to hollow myself out, and the only thing I have known about hollowing myself out here is bad, right? The only thing I know about that is bad. Therefore, I'm not trusting it, right? Or I'm working on that trust. I'm working on becoming ready. Especially if you know about this contract here. The life you have been living, potentially as a scapegoat, potentially hollowing yourself out for others, putting their needs first, all their thoughts and beliefs and everything, that's how you have been speaking. That's the truth you have known. It's what you knew, it's what you grew up with, it's what you learned to trust, but it's not your truth. Not if you identify with this one. Then it's not your truth. You have learned to hollow yourself out for a reason. For a reason. A bigger reason here that you agreed to even before you came here. And you may not have known this, and your ego and everything in you may be fighting this, right? You're turning like the back here is not trusting. You're protecting your heart. Like, is this safe? Right? Is this safe? This person, this job, this place, this opportunity, this spirit, what I'm feeling I connect with, is it safe? Like, is it a good spirit? I've talked a lot about good and bad on my channel, right? I've talked a lot about this, that sometimes good is usually something we identify with if it feels good. If it feels good. If we feel like it supports us, then it's good. Illness, disaster, losing job and money, and that's bad, right? It's because now we are in a challenged position. Our physical existence is in a challenged position because we see ourselves as finite. We have a start, a birth, and then we have an end, a death. And we don't want to get to that so soon, right? We want to live something in between here. And that circumstance that we do want to survive, we do want to keep ourselves alive, it links to the human existence, that we have a human understanding of who we are, our ego, our name, but it has nothing to do with the one that is inside, that is further in the soul, which is final, which is infinite, and which has been here many, many times before. And sometimes I think, like this could talk about that you have been in that kind of service many, many times before, because you can. It's in your bloodline. It's inheritance. You have been in this kind of contract before. And there's a memory here. Whether it's inside you, subconsciously, it's just like this doesn't feel good, right? It's challenging you to give up, to surrender. It's challenging you to surrender to something that feels like spirit perhaps, and you are not sure you can trust it. This inner feeling, the guidance, something. And it brings up all of this stuff, all of the bullying, all of the being different, all of the feeling of being, like an alien, being different, an outsider. Living also, it's challenging you to live this life, to choose to live this life. That is your greatest success. This is where you have your greatest successes, or maybe satisfaction. Like this feels as real work, true, authentic. There is like a resonance to this, right? But it may be a life values that are totally out of the normal lifestyle. That it takes you to be the hermit, maybe, right? It takes you to live a life that is different, maybe more isolated, maybe more. But the more and more you do align with it, I do feel like you probably like it somehow. It resonates deeply in you. Like you could have had a lifetime where you were an oracle, where you were a high priestess, and you were sitting and channeling something, right? You could have had lifetimes of being a certain kind of priest or priestess, channeling some kind of message. That throughout lifetimes there has been this. People have been seeking this advice, right? As you are maybe doing if you tune into tarot readings, right? It's like we want this kind of advice from someone. like an otherworldly kind of advice. So we go to a priest because a priest is in alignment with God or some kind of deity, right? And we want their opinion or their guidance. If we feel lost, or if we feel alienated or like an outsider, or not liked or bullied or something, we tend to want another answer, because it seems like everyone around you speaks the same story, right? So we may need like an outside opinion, right? Something that is outside of the tribe, perhaps, or your family or something, that or even friend group, right? They may not, like they may not understand. But what I feel like here is maybe like this, that maybe you want something to take up speed. Like you have been sitting here for a long time, creating your own value. Like maybe you have tried maybe to purify, maybe you have tried to sit in meditation, you have been trying to follow this, right? That there's something to be found. You have maybe tried to cleanse your chakras, you have tried to meditate, you have been maybe converting, like maybe you have converted into towards a religion, like you have identified as a Buddhist or a monk or a like joining the Christian church, you know, like maybe you have really tried to become available for this, right? It's like following something that you may have only known subconsciously, like it's not clear to you what this exactly is. And the more and more you get to it, the more you realize that it's very different than the ordinary 9-to-5 job. Everything you learned about how you should conduct your life. So the story of the doves here, like you can't really, it's not a dogma that you can choose, or this goes against what they are telling you. Right? This goes against what they are telling you. So you may have learned how to hollow yourself out to follow their doctrine, right? That is a training you received even then. It was painful. And it has hurt you. And you have guarded yourself to do that again, right? But maybe that is exactly what is needed, because I feel like to be a conduit or a channeler for spirit, you have to somehow be able to allow it to have some kind of room. If there is no room in your heart for spirit, or that it coexists alongside with you, what you feel is your essence in this life, that you have your name, the persona that you are kind of living in this life here. Maybe you become very aware of these two distinctions, that you have a spiritual life and you have a physical life, that you're having like these two, you have a persona in the physical realm. So when you walk around here and you speak with people, you have this persona, they know you by this persona. But you have a spiritual life also, and that spiritual life is maybe what these don't know about, or they don't identify with that. But you do, I think, Gemini, that, or at least a part of you does, right? You're the twins, right? A part of you identifies with this. And then there is this other side that may identify more with the physical realm and what's going on there. Friends, family, parties, the earthly realm that you are living in, the earthly, more day-to-day life of, like family life, or again, as I say, maybe you are a mother or a father of a children, or a child or children, so you have an earthly, like embedded earthly life, and then you have a spiritual life. And in the spiritual path here, I really feel like it wants to take you somewhere here, right? That could really go from almost nothing to become very big here. And again, I feel like it's like perhaps your throat chakra. Again, if you look at the cover photo for these readings, there's something going on about what you're speaking, or what is authentically coming out here. That comes more and more from your soul, perhaps, or from a spirit connection. It's like you are in a contract with someone here. It could be that the two twin parts of you, like the physical part, and maybe more ego-oriented human experience, and it's driven by instinct and survival mechanisms, that is one part of you. And then you have the spiritual path that knows something else, and it's driving some process forward. This is where you have this, like you have an awareness that you are in a contract with someone, or the contract is between your two sides. You could say that you have to figure out how to, again, look at the scales here, how to balance these two, right? That you have a physical, this life experience, and then you have a spiritual path of you that is, or existence that is different, that it's a different version of you, and you are maybe in a process of figuring out how to balance these, right? At the bottom here, I have the fire. As I said, there's something here that has to do with your willpower. So the page of Gabriel this is young. It could be the feeling of being a novice of something. It says here, follow your passion. Are you ready for any challenge? Opportunities for excitement and adventure. So it can be that there's someone you are in a contract with here. Spirit, or someone else that you are on a spiritual path with. And there is some kind of passion or fire that links you together. And it kind of asks you if you are ready for any challenge. Because it seems like it wants to, again, I have this feeling that something wants to come in here a bit with like a pace, like it has a drive, right? And everything that is active like this, like that, has a sense of fire behind it. It is a yang-oriented energy. It's fire that takes action. The solar plexus center in us, and it is yellow. Well, that's the yellow part of the rainbow, or yellow chakra, you could say. It has to do with our willpower, our go-getter energy, our I find this interesting, so now I go and get it, right? Taking action on something. I direct my energy towards something. So now I get up of the chair and then I get moving. That's the fire energy. It allows us to get up and get moving. Take action towards something. So, and the page can talk about young. Something maybe you recognize what this is from when you were young. You know, like it could be the feeling, let's say you, as a child, you had a fantasy friend. You were talking to someone here as a child. As a child here. Maybe you were the one who had a fantasy friend. And again, that was strange. In your family, they may just have, you know, like, that is not real. Why? They told you it was not real. The ability, and it hurt you, of course, right? But maybe you actually found great joy in that fantasy friend. Maybe you, or a specific person, as a child, when you were with them, you had this special, there was a special connection that really was healing, perhaps. That could also be what this is. It talks about healing. That a special person, when you were with them, it was very healing and nurturing and fun also, right? The passion here, it was fun, it was alluring, it was young, it was maybe innocent. You would say a young innocent wand is, you could say, the first, you would say it is the, maybe the lighter sense of passion. It's before it gets very heated, right? It's when the fire is small still. So when the fire is still small, we talk about it's fun, it's playful. It also says here it's energetic, brave, optimistic, and playful. Like when children they explore or go on an adventure. This is fun. It is kind of exciting. It is adventurous. It's I have to be a little bit brave, perhaps, to do this. And I'm optimistic about it. So I'm open and I'm trusting what's going on. That's when we open ourselves up and we kind of go there, a bit like the Fool energy, that you kind of go out there and it's fun, it's exciting, it's nice, it's motivational, it's inspiring, it's it feels uplifting. And again, it could be, you know, like you go in the garden as a child for the first time, you see all the flowers of the colors of the flowers, you see the sunshine, you see the clouds and the colors that are there, right? And maybe it's kind of this wow cornucopia of colors, right? And that is great, that is fine. When the wand's energy becomes more and more and more and more and more and more, eventually to the 10 of wands, now something has become a burden. It is heavy, it's dense, it burns us, it's too much, it's draining our energy. So when we talk about the page here, it's like, go with the things that are light, uplifting, fun, and stop when it becomes like it takes over. You know, like now you are hunting the fun. Now you are now it's almost like you are hunting a high. You know, like you are now then the fire takes over and your freedom is not there anymore. As long as it's playful, it's fun, it's light, it's exciting, but it's not needy, it's not heavy. Now it's not so that you know, like when if you get attracted to a person, the attraction and the excitement should be there. But you know, when you leave a date and you get home, and if you then start becoming needy, I want to talk to them again, I want to phone them, I miss them, I want them around. I want more. That every time when you get to the point of you want more, this is where you're kind of wanting the wands to come in for you, right? You want them there to be more fire, more excitement, more high, more. I feel like this is an invitation for the easier play. Like the play should be easy and fun and exciting and inspirational and motivational. But if it becomes more of a hunt, or you feel hunted, because that's kind of what I feel like here when I see these cards. It's almost like if something comes in here, like with an enormous speed here, it's like, no, I don't want that, right? It should be fun. It should be easy. Then she will probably turn around and open, right? If you want to be aggressive, and that's, that's also fire energy. If you want to be angry, aggressive, if you want to own and you have to do what I want, right? If something comes in aggressive here, I feel like this one turns their back to it, right? Because that is too much. It's too much fire then. That the fire has to be less. It has to be optimistic, open, playful, energetic, yeah, brave, but not possessive, not needy, not aggressive. That is too much of fire, right? It's like that fire can shut the heart off here. So as long as something is fun, easy, playful, I want to say temptation, but not for a high, for less. Temptation for can I say an innocent temptation, like an innocent temptation for just it. I get all it. It's like, like the fire energy also holds sexuality, right? So I could say flirting also with this one. Flirting, like the easy or the fun flirting, the fun side of, like chemistry between two people or between you and spirit. It should be a playful flirting or a playful child. Yeah, it's something about it, as long as it's, because flirting can be seen as, like a sexual thing, but when children are meeting each other, and it is a young and a page energy here, when children meet each other, whether they have chemistry or not, whether they have, it's almost like you have to go back, Gemini, and remember what it's like to be just a child that plays with another child. That's why I talk about the fantasy friend. Maybe you did have a fantasy friend, Gemini, and they were your best friend. And why were they your best friend, right? Why were they able to? That's what I feel like. It's because that friend was probably kind. It was easy. It was maybe loving. It was an adventure to talk to them. It was inspiring and a motivation to have them in your life somehow, right? Or like the child that talks to their dolls or something, like that connection is the right balance. I want to say it offers something that is the right balance. So whether you are in a contract with someone here, the balance is important. So if this idea of rushing in and telling them something perhaps here, like if it rushes in, she will turn her back if this is a person in your life, right? But it has to come in right here, right? That it has to be playful and kind and as a friend, right? It has to be a friend. It's almost like, so how you can distinguish if you want to work with spirit or not, if you want to be available, hollow yourself out for spirit, it has to be a friend. It's almost like establishing a friendship, before anything else. So even if we talk about a person in your life that could be right for you, where there's balance, it's almost like for you, Gemini, it's like there has to be a friendship first. That she is looking over her shoulder whether something is friendly. Otherwise, she can't like open herself up again, right? That it has to be a friendship before anything else. A playful, easy, fun, light, maybe innocent, a bit like remembering again, like childhood. How do you become a friend with, like, it should be easy, right? We don't necessarily go to become friends with those that we have a real problem with, or those who are bullying us. Those who are bullying us is not necessarily those we see we want to have a friendship with, right? We seek to want the friendship with those who are kind to us. Those who respect us, those who like us the way we are, the way we present here. Even though you were an ugly duckling, right? We tend to find a friendship with those who accept us for being the ugly duckling then, or the alien, or the outsider. Right? We tend to be able to connect with those because it's kind, it's not judgmental, it's not, and that's probably also a way you can figure this out. Like maybe you should take your earthly vision away from something. You can rely on what you see with your eyes here. You should feel into whether something is balanced here for you. Feel, right? Let her feel here if something is balanced. What you see, you cannot necessarily, like a judge that must put out a verdict in some kind of case. They can rely on, and that they know that they can rely on what they see. There must be evidence, right? There must be concrete, solid proof evidence, because someone can show up with a perfect look in a business suit, or perfectly, dressed for the occasion, but it doesn't mean that is not enough proof. So even if they are, physically attractive, even though they say all the right words, it doesn't mean that you can necessarily rely on it, right? That in the long term, it will be the right marriage or the right friendship. This is something you have to figure out in your heart space. You have to figure out if you can open yourself up to something here. So maybe you need to blindfold yourself and feel into a situation instead. It has to be kind. It has to be non-aggressive, I want to say. So nothing about grabbing you or something, or you grabbing someone else. It should be light and easy and fun. It should be it's not a power play, right? There are no power plays or mind games here. At least not if you really want your heart in it here. It should be fun and easy, and like when children, they figure out who they can play with, right? That the one you want to play with is someone who, or at least they easily find out, right? That when someone is suddenly becoming more aggressive or wants to, take over and control the game or the play that you have, usually children end up butting heads then, and they leave the game, right? They don't stay friends with that one very long unless they have been traumatized. Right? Otherwise, they will eventually butt heads, and kind of that's not. The play has to be more equal. It has to be like there's an acceptance and respect on both sides, that they see each other's value. And one day one can have an idea for a play, and the other day another one can have an idea for a play. And then, or a game or something, and then they work on it together, right? They figure it out together, and that's why it works, because both of them has something to say, both of them have something to offer, both of them have respect for each other and acceptance for each other, and it doesn't matter what you look like, right? It doesn't matter. The appearance of someone is not enough. That's what I feel like with the page here. This is a novice. Become the novice again and realize what is really true joy and true realization. Like maybe you have come to a realization that there's something you want to offer here, that you want to come in with some kind of offer for someone who has been turning their back here, right? It could be that something wants to come in here and work with you. And the only way you can realize if this is a good thing or bad thing, Gemini, is it kind? Does it accept you as you are? With no judgment and everything? Is it willing to listen to your side of the story and your needs and what you are about? Is it willing to and again, it's not judging you for being the ugly duckling here, perhaps, or at least that's what you have been told in the past. This one that comes in here with a childlike play is not there is no judgment, right? If this is a kind spirit, they love you. They think you are beautiful exactly as you are, and they wouldn't judge you. They love you as you are. They just want to play with you here. They want to have fun and be. Let's go and have this adventure like children, right? They go out and we're going on an adventure, right? We are going to crawl around the grass, and we are exploring every little insect there is together. And this is fun. We like that, right? It's alluring or fun. Or when we get a little older, we could perhaps go into the forest, right? We could, as friends, we go into the forest together and we explore all the little plants and the trees and the birds in there. We're listening to the birds, or we explore the water, right? What's in there together. But this childlike play and excitement and wanting to be that for each other, with each other. That's probably, if we talk like a spirit connection here, or nature perhaps, or something, that again, living a life that is, I want to say it's like that value is different for you here, Gemini. The value, the true value, the 10 here, like your true happiness, like your true happy ever after is maybe with that fantasy friend of yours, or a spirit that is just so happy that you can hear them, right? That you wanna talk to them, right? That you wanna be with them, or you wanna allow them to be part of your heart here. Maybe again here. That remember what it was like when you were a child, right? That maybe you trusted that friend, fantasy friend here. Maybe they were guiding you to try to go down this route, or try to go down this route, Gemini, because maybe that could be fun, right? Maybe you did it and something terrible happened here. And you thought you couldn't trust it. Maybe now it's trying to speak to you again, like maybe you, like living your life without them is maybe bad, right? Then you just feel like a clumsy dove here. So living life without them is also not good, right? Living life without them is also not good. Then you have to try to like fit into the normal life, mundane life, and that's also not you. I feel like there's something about exploring like light fun, the light side of joy and fun, before the wands become too many, when the wands are still very small or young. This is almost the same as an Ace of Wands, like a new beginning of yielding that fire energy of yours, perhaps that it make it young again, like try to find a way to make it young again, or even to maybe, I don't know, awaken a novice-like approach to something, where you do what a child does. A child can be quite excited about something and burst into laughing, or burst into like running around the living room, because now there is some kind of fire there that just has to be used for something, right? Or it laughs, or it's very creative and draws and everything, but just let yourself, as long as it's fun, as long as it's exciting, and just this light, the lightness of it, as long as there's a lightness of it, or an easiness, and that it's kind, then you can trust it. Then you can trust it, Gemini. You are the first air sign. I want to say Geminis are about the light, like the easier conversations, the more fun and easier, humorous conversations, like diving into very deep conversations and exploring deep waters is maybe not that Gemini-like. I think it's supposed to stay light and easy and uncomplicated somehow. That is more Gemini-like. That's what I believe about Gemini, right? That as easier or a lighter conversation, that is preferable for a Gemini. And the one I'm speaking to here, it's still preferable. That's what I feel like. Get in tune with that feeling again somehow. That it should be easy and light and not something that drains you down somehow. Even if you have experienced something that you needed to turn your back from and you needed to protect yourself somehow, even if you have experienced bullying or something, that it is possible, or it is possible to find playmates, I want to say, right? Like you did when you were a child. It is possible to have that conversation and keep it that light. Don't obstruct it. Like, don't become needy or, like hold on too tight, or let it be easy and non-aggressive and non-possessive also. Like, let it stay in this playful, friendly zone. And as long as you do that, you can figure out that whether this is a person that you want to play with more long term, right? You want to be with or have interactions with, even if this is spirit, right? Even if this is, it has to be easy, it has to be light, there has to be respect on both sides. As I said, there has to be an acceptance of both side of the story, both, that there's an acceptance for you if you accept hollowing yourself out. And there should be an acceptance of what it is Spirit has to offer. Like this acceptance, that agreement, like can you close your eyes and tune into that feeling that this is a kind request from Spirit, right? It's a kind request from Spirit. And it's patient. It wants to wait until you're ready. It wants to wait until you feel comfortable. It wants to wait until you are ready to hatch. It wants to wait until you trust. Right? That is probably a very good recipe for all kinds of contracts or relationships. Or situationships or work relations or anything. It's probably a good recipe for any kind of connection in life. That you kind of figure each other out, right? And see if does it feel right? Do I feel I can let my guard down? That I can trust this somehow? That is probably a good thing in any relationship. Right? That's what I feel like is here. And that this cannot be pushed or forced. There's really a feeling of that. Like, if the egg isn't ready to hatch, it's not ready to hatch. Then it needs more time, right? It needs more prepare. It needs more, maybe purification or cleansing. It needs more honesty. It needs more cleansing or more attuning to something. Because it has to come from free will. That's what I feel like with children also. When they play, both of them have to be like really wanting that connection. And if they choose each other long term, I think it's because it's right. It's because something fits you. Something fits you and wants to meet you on equal terms. And you can't force it, they can't force it. It's something that needs patience, it needs adaptation, it needs, again, if this is like really about leaning into this idea that you could be a medium or a channeler in some way, well, spirit can't force you, even though you have a contract with them. It has to be adapted over time, and it has to be a free choice that you do this, even if the contract was made before you incarnated. It should be something that you adapt to over time. If this is a physical person, it's something you're adapting to over time. And there could be fears that you need to deal with, right? Things you need to deal with here before, or that's the signal, right? That if this is not young and innocent and easy and kind and playful, then someone won't participate, right? Someone won't participate, and that's what I feel like. If you are in a connection with someone here who doesn't want to play, they turn their back to you. It's probably because there's something wrong in this connection. It doesn't have this lightness to it. That there's something that is unbalanced here. Someone doesn't feel safe here. Otherwise, they wouldn't turn their back. They would feel more open to it. That's the best thing. I feel like how I can describe this energy that I have here. It's like it feels a little bit like someone could be impatient, waiting for someone to come back or open their hearts or be accepting or wanting to play, like have this conversation, this friendship going, or the start of something, the beginning of something, the beginning of a contract. Why are they not honoring our contract? Why are they not? Again, like I'm waiting for someone to hatch here, so I have someone to play with. Like someone sitting here, maybe a bit grumpy. Why are they not coming and play with me? I need, or if this is a football, right? I need my playmate to come and play football with me. I sit and wait here for it, but they are not coming because something doesn't feel right here. Like if you were the jaguar here, normally Gemini, and you want to play football, but what if the one you want to play with doesn't like football at all? What if they like hide and seek? And you sit here and you demand them to want to come and play football with you. You insist on your game, right? And you become more and more grumpy why they're not coming. Why don't they want to agree to my play here? They don't want to be, like dictated, perhaps. Nobody likes to be dictated. Again, as I said, who do you become a friend with? You don't become a friend with someone who dictates you what to play, how to play. That is not a normal friendship. An easy, kind, easygoing, innocent, joyful, playful, fun friendship. That's not how it works. That is like a dominance thing, or I want my will by all means. I want it to be my way by all means. And someone here in this connection is turning their back here. That is not kind. It's not equal. Right? Sometimes to figure out if something is equal, if that's what we want, if that's what you're looking for here, that you want an equal give and take contract. You can sit here as long as you want here. They are asking you, are you open to play anything else but football? Would you play on my terms here? She would say, right? She would say, what if, like, I have to be safe and secure in this game also, right? I want something that is maybe not as active. Again, if this is playing football, it can be a quite active, running around, very active. You can, sweat and you can become very heated by that game. What if this one likes to sit and paint? Would you be all right with that? Would you play along with that? Would you sit and paint with her? Quietly sitting there and painting? Would you do that? Or do you only accept a connection if they are playing by your rules? And you're waiting for them to come and play by your rules, but this one is saying, maybe I want different rules here, right? I want it to be more equal here, more balanced. I play football with you, but then maybe tomorrow we could paint, right? And then you participate and you are quite all right with that. Actually, it's maybe fun for you. That's how you find this agreement. Like, and if you are in a relationship where this is not working, like you want someone to play football with you always here, then the one you are standing in front of here, the one who is on the table here for you, this is like, I want to say, your opposite. Like they are challenging you. If you want to be with me, or if you want to have a contact with me, I need you to slow down. Also, I need you to be able to slow down and actually hear me and see me and value me and respect me like the children do, right? I can't play with you if it's only on your terms. I don't want to be your friend then. I don't want to be open to be your friend. That's what I feel like is here. Like it's a request that someone here may want to be your friend and work with you, but they could be your opposite. And that's what I feel like. Normally, friendships, it should be easy and fun and all this. This is a challenge. Whether you want to be able to have friendships with people who are different than you, then you may need to also be able to see it from their point of view. That's what I feel like. It's like if you want to play with me, you also have to be able to play on my terms. I want to be playing on your terms. Can you hollow yourself out and play on my terms, Would you be able to put yourself aside today and play with me on my terms? That's what children do. Like they take it, oh, you want to play football today? Okay, I play football with you then, right? even though maybe today I wanted to climb trees, but I see you're quite like engaged in this football play. You want to do this, and yeah, actually I feel that could engage me too. So I play your game. I play that idea. I follow your idea and play this game of yours. But tomorrow maybe we could climb trees. And the other one thinks, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's climb trees and get some nuts and so on, right? And we sit there like eagles. We can look over then that play or that game now becomes the game of the day. And that's quite all right, because you have figured out that both of you add value to each other's life. Otherwise, you only play football here. And it means that you only see the world from a football field. But the same rules every day. You never get to be the eagle. You never get to pick the nuts. You never get to fly. You never get to see that kind of life if you can't appreciate someone else's input, right? Even if they are your opposite. This is what I feel like. You're standing in front of someone who is challenging you to embrace that there's more to life. I think the one you're talking to here, or the one in question, they do want to play with you. They do want to be. It's just that they cannot be the only one that hollows themselves out. They cannot be the only one that hollows themselves out. That is not sustainable in the long run. It won't work. Eventually, they are exhausted and tired. And actually, they just become a shadow. There's nothing left of them. And if this is your friend, if this is someone you care about, you would prefer them to be alive, right? You would prefer them to be your friend. You would prefer them to be available for play. You would accept them. You would not drain them. That is not a kind friendship. Right? That's what I feel like. This is like that. That's what is here. So that whether you are on the one or on the other side, it's about this idea that I allow myself to hollow out for a moment, to listen to someone else's idea or what they are speaking, their idea, their play, their game, their words. I'm listening to them for a moment, and maybe actually it could be fun, right? Maybe actually I go along on this journey. I go along on this play. I follow this because it actually sounds fun, or it actually sounds nice, right? And then tomorrow, if we play again, I could be the one who comes in with an idea. Should we go and do this today? And the other one thinks, yeah, that's a great idea. I haven't done this for ages. Actually, that could be quite fun, right? Then you have this more accepting, more equal, and the real appreciation on both sides, that both of them actually appreciate each other's input and how it can bring joy to their life. So sometimes being the one, you could say, in charge, or the one who is the idea creator, and other times you're the one who listens and goes along with someone else's play, because there's something to be found in that. There's something to be recognized or realized in someone else's universe, you would say, or maybe they can teach you. If this one is a great painter, they are actually very good at this. They can teach you, right? They can show you that you can actually do this as well, that this can be quite fun. If you just know a few techniques, then you can actually do something very great with it. But if you close your mind off and you only want to play football here, right? You sit in your own grumpy corner and you stick to your own choices, and you're not allowing anyone to come in and lighten up your life with something, a new experience. Then you sit in, well, and you can do that, of course, if you find that that is more safe for you. You don't like the idea of being challenged, that you would rather prefer to turn your back to being challenged, because it brings something up here that is uncomfortable, perhaps. Maybe you could just talk about it, right? You could talk to someone about it, or you could talk to spirit about it, that you are unsure. That, again, let's say you are afraid of the water, and your friend is encouraging us, let's go to the beach, let's go swim and play in the water, and you kind of just, no, I don't want to go there, right? Can we just play football because I feel more safe there? But if you talk to your friend about the thing about water, and that you are scared of water because maybe you almost drowned once, if this is a caring friend, they would understand. They would say, okay, but we can go to the beach, but we don't have to go in, right? Or we could stay just by, by the shore. We can stay just, like dipping in our toes. We don't have to like really go in and swim then, right? It's just because I really like the water. So maybe you would go, and just dip in your toes. You don't have to, like go in and swim. We don't have to go far out and anything, right? If communication, again, you're a Gemini, you're about communication, right? Maybe you can just say this. Maybe you can talk about it. Then you can figure stuff out, right? If they really love you and care about you and like you and value you, they wouldn't pressure you into something, right? They wouldn't do that. Even if they are your opposite. If they care about you, they would never put you in danger, like a dangerous situation. Even if they know that this is like a traumatic thing for you, they would probably think more like, okay, is this something you don't want to deal with ever? Or is it something that you actually do want to overcome? Because if you want to overcome it, I will be here by your side when you go through it, and I will support you, right? That would be a kind friend. And by doing that, they actually hollow themselves out for you. They would stand by your side, even though they have no problem with water. They would respect that and stay by your side if you dip your toes in, or even if you go out to your knees, water to your knees or something. They would stay there. Because they know this is a big change for you. They know this is difficult for you. They would stay there. They would hollow themselves out that day for you. They could go out and swim, like far out, and swim around and laugh and have the best time. And you're standing there being actually quite anxious, But if they hollow themselves out, they would stay with you. They would stay there with you, hold your hand perhaps, and say, but we can do this, right? Just look at me, I'm here, right? And I'm here with you. We hold hand in the water, and you see that this is safe. Nothing happens here. And when we have done that, we go in again. And that's it. Maybe the next time you go to your knees again, maybe you go to your a bit further out, right? Maybe you don't like it, you stay where you are, and your friend would say that's quite all right. Again, the egg can't hatch before it wants to hatch. There is this acceptance, right? You can be grumpy and you can say, I don't want to stay. I go out and bathe. You can stay here if you want to. But then you're leaving your friend behind, knowing that they are actually not comfortable in the water. How do you think this friend is feeling then? Of course, you can say, I don't care, but then you probably won't have that friend for long. That friend will probably feel the disconnect and maybe disengage from you. I don't know, maybe you've had this come up in your life, that friends or so-called friends have disengaged from you because they just couldn't follow you. They didn't stay because they felt uncomfortable or not seen or not valued or not heard or not appreciated, right? Maybe that's why they disengaged in the first place. So this is what I feel, and I actually managed to do the whole reading without one glitch, and I'm appreciative of that. I hope that I believe that it's because I am bringing forth the right message. I don't know if there is one last thing that I can say here to take into account. Maybe a humbling, that sometimes the idea of hollowing ourselves out takes a bit of a humbling, that we can actually, that we choose to be humble about someone else's experience. To be able to hollow yourself out, you have to be humble. There has to be a willingness. Again, your willpower, right? Your own free will. There has to be a willingness to choose to be humble and caring about someone else and their experience. And if you can't do that, well, I believe the contract that I talk about here, this is going to be difficult. If you are not willing to accept this other person or spirit or something on its term, and it has to accept you on your terms, right? That's what I feel like. Can I have a card on what? Like, what is one of the biggest game stoppers here? What is that? I get the Emperor. So the game stopper is the Emperor. So what does that mean? Well, the Emperor can be like a CEO, the King of Kings. We could talk about the Father. We could talk about the Father, God energy. We could talk about being the Emperor. So being the one in charge. And this is Aries energy here. If someone is the Emperor, as I said, in a game situation or a playful playmate energy here, if someone is the Emperor and wants this other one to be a pawn, so someone who listens and follows instructions and does what the Emperor wants. Well, you can say things in a kind manner, but it doesn't mean that this other one wants to follow. Again, I feel like if it's not kind, they turn their back here. You almost like this. If this is a domineering, aggressive emperor, they will turn their back here because it lacks heart. It lacks understanding, right? So there's something about power here. I feel like a power thing. And again, with the Wands energy, if the Wands energy gets out of control, it can become very like aggressive and angry, and it can be burning, like it puts its, then it becomes, you know, like a forest fire out of control. Making a little bonfire is not a problem, but if that bonfire evolves into a very aggressive forest fire, then it can be very difficult to dim it down again. Then it eats, it suffocates, right? It suffocates the oxygen out of everything. So, you know, if there is an emperor in this scenario here, what kind of emperor is this? Right? Whether this is an inner dynamic, again, we see there are wings here. If this is spirit here, what kind of emperor is this? The way you can figure this out, if you feel like you are on a path towards becoming a medium or something like that, clairvoyant, that you work with, that there's something, that you are in a contract with something here. We could even talk about a boss. As simple as that when you are you work with someone, maybe you are a boss. Maybe you have a boss. What kind of boss is this, right? What kind of environment do they create also? What kind of environment do they create? Is it a bullying environment for you, feeling maybe that you don't quite belong there? If they make you feel uncomfortable, it's not kind. It's not easy to be open. Of course, you turn your back here. So we have to be aware of what is controlling a dynamic here. If there is an emperor, and this is like the top CEO, right? Emperor is evolved Aries energy. And fire energy here. And Aries is the youngest fire energy. So what kind of young fire energy are we dealing with here? Is it kind? How does it feel, right? If it makes you feel like you are chased, or it's needy, or it wants to control, it gets grumpy, as I said with the Jaguar here, it wants to play football, and it needs you to come and play with them, like like a needy, my way or the highway energy. That's the only way we can play, right? Now I suddenly get like 50 shades of gray, right? Where Christian Grey says to Anastasia, I don't do romance. I don't have relationships. This is the only way you can have me, right? It's the only way we can be together, he says, right? And she is asking more, like she's asking more of him, and that challenges him, right? It challenges him to go through his own emotions. It's challenging him to accept more. And you have to figure out if this is what you want. I feel like that's kind of maybe not in like a sexual, that film is a particular genre, right? It doesn't have to be that at all. It could be. It doesn't have to be. But it's like Christian only wants to make himself available with Anastasia in a particular setting, and she is asking more. That it's almost like that. It's 50 Shades of Grey being challenged to more. That could be it, actually, a bit like that. It could be any other kind of scenario. It could be a work situation, right, where your emperor has a very fixed, or the boss has a very fixed definition of what they want you to do at work. And you are kind of asking for more. You want more, bigger, like you need more challenging, maybe work tasks. You want a different salary. Maybe you want time off. You want to be able to work from home, maybe. Like you're asking, it's like you're bending the rules somehow, or bending the expectations of something. And then someone may have a reaction to that, right? Like wanting to bend the connection or open the connection up for more. That's what I feel like is here. And the other one that is involved, whether that's you or, there has to be this feeling that I'm only opening up to this if it's safe somehow. It has to be safe for me. Otherwise, I can't open myself up to this. And if you can't guarantee this, if you're not willing to try at least, that's also what Anastasia is asking. Like she's consistently asking this of Christian, but I want more. I don't want to sign a contract, right? A dominant, submissive contract. I want more. I want us to date. I want us to go out and eat. I want to meet your family. I want us to have a regular, an equal relationship where someone sits more like Christian Grey does. No, I can only do this, right? This is the only way you can be in a relationship with me. And this other one is asking, but I want more, right? And now it's like there's this invitation. Are you willing to explore why it is that there has been these stubborn, more fixed settings about something, or are you running away from it? Like, are you willing to explore more, or are you not wanting it? And it's like in the film with Christian and Anastasia, it's like Christian have had other submissives contracts with girls before, but it's only Anastasia who can push him into a different understanding. So it's like there's only one who can do this. That's this contract, right? That there is something particular between you and spirit here, you and another person, you and a boss perhaps, a challenge, or you and a father, something like that. That there's particularly only them who can challenge you here. Or the other way around, Anastasia as this girl, innocent, not you would say important girl. She's living a rather invisible life, but she's the only one that had the ability to challenge Christian in that way. So there's only that one. And it's like, it's that kind of dynamic that there is this particular one who can do this. And it's like, do you want to go there or not? I just feel like you are contemplating about this, right? That it's probably, there's the potential of the happy ever after here. But it's not there yet, and it's challenging you. The reason why it's not there is because it wants more. It wants more. It's requesting more of you. This is what I have, Gemini. I hope this helped somehow. Take care of yourself, of course, out there always. And listen, right? Listen, is it kind? Is it friendly? Is it all this? Or is there something else that feels off? If it feels off, it's not opening up. And that's the reason, right? This is what I have. Again, take care of yourself. I send you my very best, Gemini. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.